Hello. I'm going to be reading from The World's Worst Children 2, one of my favourite books by one of my favourite authors, David Walliam. And the story I have chosen to read is Competitive Colin. I'm sure we all know a competitive Colin in our lives. Colin Clont hated being short. He felt everyone looked down on him the whole time. In fairness to them, they couldn't help it. Every night, Colin would lie in bed and curse his parents for being short and making him short. "It's not fair! Blast my titchy mum and dad! Because of them I will never be tall," he would say to himself. "But I will show everyone that I am a giant among men." Colin had to win at everything. Rules and fair play meant nothing to him. He had to be the winner, number one. Because he was so competitive, Colin was not good company. When playing pass the parcel at parties, he would never ever let go of the parcel, even if the grown-up in charge spun it round the room to try and get him off it. "I'm not letting go." For musical chairs, he was even worse. Colin would stick a chair to the bottom of his trousers with super glue at the start of the game, so he couldn't lose. "I am the winner." Once in a game of hide and seek, the boy hid in a chest of drawers for a whole week because he was so adamant that he would never be found and that he'd be crowned champion of hide and seek forever. Ha ha! Colin would watch TV shows and memorise the answers. Then he would watch them on repeat with his parents and shout out all the answers before they could. "I am the cleverest." If the boy was taking part in a three-legged race, he would borrow his grandma's wooden leg and strap that to his own leg. That way, he wouldn't be slowed down by being tied to anybody else. "I want gold! Here's your leg back, Granny!" he would shout as he hurled it across the playing field at her, causing her to topple on the ground. Oof! Here is Colin doing all of those silly tricks, hiding for a week in the drawers, memorising all of the answers to the quiz shows, and tying himself to his granny's wooden leg. If Colin was losing badly at a board game, the boy would simply kick the board and all the contents up in the air and pretend it was an accident as he crossed his legs. Bash! "Let's just say I won that one." In sack races, Colin would cunningly conceal a mini motorbike underneath his sack and zoom past the other children. When playing musical statues, Colin would dip himself in cement and let it dry first. That way, he couldn't move a muscle and would win the game. The downside was that he would have to be smashed out of the cement afterwards with a sledgehammer. What a silly sausage. In exams, Colin would make sure he came top of the class every time by using a mini microphone, an earpiece, and a boy with a pile of textbooks outside who had bribed with chocolate. 100% again. In running races at school, Colin would bring his own starting pistol along. This he would only fire once he had crossed the finish line. "I won!" In football matches, Colin would tie the ball to his foot so he never had to pass it, and it would be impossible for anyone other than him to score a goal. Most nights, Colin would add a cup, medal, or certificate to the huge trophy cabinet he had in his bedroom. Whenever he did win something, the boy gave himself a pat on the back. "Well done, Colin," he would tell himself. Because he had appeared to come top in everything, news soon spread. There were stories in local newspapers. "Local lad wins a medal for something despite being short." Before he broke through to the national newspapers, eventually Colin found himself being interviewed on television. "Wonder Kid, little boy, wins big," say all the headlines. That's a mightily impressive trophy cabinet, Colin, the presenter remarked. Thank you. I guess I'm just the best at everything. And what's incredible is, looking at you, you can't be more than 5 years old. I'm 10. Oops. Sitting in his oak-panelled office, watching the interview, was the head of the British Olympic team, Lord Sock. Sock was a portly old man with a bushy white moustache, who in the distant past had been an athlete himself. "This boy is the answer to our prayers," he exclaimed. "He's a winning machine." The man looked up the boy's number and picked up the telephone right away. Ring, 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 ring. "Colin Cont?" he asked. "Yes." "I am Lord Sock. You may have heard of me." "Yes, of course, sir. I mean, Lord." "Our top athlete has just broken his leg in training, and it's the 100-metre sprint on Saturday. Colin Cont, your country needs you to bring home the gold." The other end of the line went very quiet. The boy felt sick to his stomach. Cheating in a school sports day was one thing, but trickery in the Olympic Games was quite another. Colin, are you there?" "Yes, I am here, Lord Sock." The boy's mind was racing. He began to imagine the glory of winning. If he was the fastest man in the world, his height would never be mentioned again. A golden haze filled his head. There was no bigger competition in the world than the Olympic Games. There was no bigger prize than an Olympic gold medal. Competitive Colin couldn't help himself. "Well, boy, have you made your mind up?" "Yes, and it's a yes." "Splendid. We will see you at the British Olympic team training camp first thing tomorrow. It's only an hour away, or for you, if you run, half an hour." But, Lord," the boy spluttered. He looked at his trophy cabinet. He realised there wasn't one reward that he'd won by merit. He had cheated horrendously to win everything. "Yes, boy?" "I prefer to train alone." "Alone?" In all his years in sport, Lord Sock had never heard of such a thing. "Yes, in my bedroom." "Your bedroom?" Now the man was utterly incredulous. "Yes, Lord." "But this is the 100-metre sprint. How big is your bedroom?" "I don't know exactly, Lord." "Hazard a guess." 5 meters across." "Well, how are you going to practice running 100 metres in such a small room?" Colin thought for a moment. "I will run around in circles." The boy had a point. "Well, your sports record speaks for itself. We will see you on the day of the race. Don't let us down, Colin." With that, Lord Sock hung up the telephone. Colin felt wobbly and slumped on his bed. He was going to have to think of something big if he was going to pull off the Olympic Games. That night, he stayed awake until dawn, dreaming up all the different ways he could cheat. He could fire himself out of a cannon and fly past the finish line. Block the way of his competitors by herding sheep onto the track. Bah, bah. Attach the back of other competitors' underpants with heavy weights, so as they set off, they pinged straight back. What do we think of that? He could tie everyone's shoelaces together, so as soon as the starter pistol fires, the runners all crash into the ground in a heap. Drive an ice cream van onto the running track and serve all his fellow competitors free giant Mr. Whippies, giving them indigestion before the race. Maybe he could let off a stink bomb at the start of the line. Use a sleigh and a pack of huskies in the hope that they might go faster. lie and tell everyone it's actually an egg and spoon race and distribute eggs and spoons to slow them all down. He could hitch a ride on the back of a cheetah, the world's fastest animal. Roar! He could just simply run faster than everyone else. Sadly, all these ideas seemed doomed to fail, especially the last one. Just as Colin was about to call the whole thing off, his imagination swirled with the perfect plan. Rocket-propelled shoes. First, he bought the biggest running shoes he could find. These were at least twice the size of Colin's actual feet and made him look like a clown. Second, he hollowed out holes in the soles so he could install some wheels he had prized off his toy cars. Third, he laid his hands on the most powerful firework he could find. He cut open the back of the shoes and placed the rockets inside. While the other competitors would have to run as fast as they could, Colin would simply light the fuses on the fireworks and shoot past them in a special rocket-propelled shoes and win the gold medal. What could possibly go wrong? And we will pause there for today. I'll film the next little bit and upload it soon. I wonder what you think is going to happen with Colin in his rocket-propelled shoes. Oh, I've got a feeling it's not going to be good. Speak to you soon. Bye.